up, Amp Unit? Amplified Q&A. This is my favorite video of the week. This is when I get to interact for at least about an hour with you guys, talk pro wrestling. Doesn't get much better than that. Answer your guys' questions. Not all of them I can't get to, but a lot of them I try to get to every week. I first want to, before I get to the Sasha Banks matter at hand, the main topic of this video, and I'll get right to that, but I first want to address Brian Christopher because I haven't had a chance to talk about that in the past several videos. So I do want to just take a minute and just say that my thoughts, prayers, and much love and respect is to Jerry the King Lawler and all of Brian Christopher's family and friends. Because this is a tragic time for them, because this was just a tragic situation through and through. I've had many friends that have committed suicide, so I know exactly the process that happens now. And I know all too well that the person that takes their life, selfishly, might I add, they don't just take their own life, they take everybody's life who loved them. Whoever did love them, whoever loved them now, they take them with them, because that depression, that what could I have done differently? What could I have said? Why didn't I know? Why didn't I see the warning signs? That'll linger with them forever. And that is a depression that will stick with them on their shoulder and hanging over their head for the rest of their lives. So the person committing suicide doesn't just take their own life, they take everybody with them, all of their loved ones. So yes, it is a selfish act. But the selfish act was caused by demons that the individual thought they could not overcome. They reached a breaking point where they said, my life is crumbling down and there is literally no hope for me. That is rock bottom, and if you're not mentally strong enough, you will cave in. And that is the result. Again, I've had many friends that have committed suicide, so I know the process that happens afterwards, and I know the process of what caused the suicide in the first place. And none of it's good, man. That's why I always try to tell everybody, be as nice and as good as you can to people, because you never know what they're going through. Brian Christopher was one of the most generally nice and great dudes in the business. Yes, he made a lot of poor choices and bad mistakes, but he did that because he had a lot of demons that he was trying to fight. He was in a really bad place mentally for the longest time. But sometimes it's the nicest and the greatest people on earth that are fighting the biggest demons. Think about that. So for Brian Christopher, tragic situation, and he was always just one of the fucking greatest dudes, and I'll always remember him as such. I'll always remember Brian Christopher in a good light, not a negative light. And I hope and I pray and I give nothing but love, support, and all my best well wishes to all of his family and friends, and of course including Jerry the King Lawler especially. And that's my thoughts on Brian Christopher, man. All the best, love and respect to family and friends. Tragic situation through and through. Now, moving on to Sasha Banks. Let's get right to the video, right? Let's get right to the Q&A. I'm not going to waste any time on this, guys. I want to start off with not a question, a comment, first of all. Somebody was pleading for me on YouTube, and this is Khalid. And he just says, he or she says, please don't hate Sasha BC with a broken heart emoji. So again, that was please don't hate Sasha, broken heart emoji. And he or she is saying that because you guys know, if you've been following me on this channel for a decent amount of time at least, that I am not on board with this boss and hug connection tag team with Bayley, not in the least. And I've been very critical of the way Sasha Banks is being portrayed and how she's portraying her own character on TV. So a lot of people, I know it's not just Khalid who are thinking this. They're thinking, am I done with Sasha Banks now? Absolutely not. As far as don't hate Sasha, please, BC, there's no hate, first of all. This is professional wrestling. I'm just a critic of professional wrestling, just like Siskel and Ebert are critics at the movies. People always look to the critics to see if a movie is good or not. 2 thumbs up or 2 thumbs down. And then they go and do more research if they want to see the movie. But everyone starts with critics. That's what us YouTubers are, or podcasters. We're critics of the business. A lot of us, I hope most of us, I don't really watch anyone else, but a lot of YouTubers and podcasters hopefully are smart fans, they call us. These are fans that are smarter than the average. We just do our research. We know a lot about the business, not just what's on TV, but we know a lot of what's happening backstage. We've had a lot of interactions with either superstars or people in the business. smart fans, and we know what we're talking about, and we come on to these platforms and we spit out what we know. So that's always the extent of these videos. I'm the critic, and I am critiquing the product of pro wrestling, in particular, and more specifically, WWE. And Sasha Banks is one of the ones under the microscope because I've said since day one on these videos that she captivates me more than most of the talent, and that includes the men. So she is always going to be under the microscope, and we always try to get Sasha Banks to the next level because we always felt on this channel that Vince McMahon and WWE was holding her down for some reason. So what happened, guys, you talk about hate. There's no hate when I'm just critiquing anybody. We have nothing but love for Sasha Banks and nothing but love for Mercedes. Now, if Mercedes, the person who plays the Sasha Banks boss character, if she cut me off on the highway and I go off the highway and over the guardrail, maybe then I hate Mercedes. But as far as pro wrestling goes, there's no hate for Sasha Banks. There's just dislike for the character that she is playing. There's a big, big difference there, Khalid. And I want that to be, I want that point to be driven home right now. There's no hate. We do nothing but love Sasha Banks on this channel. From day number one, this is a pro Sasha Banks channel where we always put Sasha Banks in the highest light. Until recently. Because here's the deal. Sasha Banks played the boss character, right? She was the boss. And everyone says, well, what was that? That's not a character. Well, what is Straight Fire for Becky Lynch? That's not a character. She comes to the ring with goggles on and her hair is red. What's Straight Fire? What is Becky Lynch's character? That she's a lass kicker? Charlotte is the queen, but what is that as a character? Charlotte comes to the ring with a fucking robe, and she has some fireworks every now and again when Vince McMahon wants to splurge. But that makes her a queen? My point is, they don't really have a definitive over-the-top character, obviously. But what the boss stood for was somebody who had a huge chip on their shoulder. They didn't have a lot growing up. They had struggles. Now they have a chip on their shoulder. They have to prove to everybody that they are the best in the business. That is what the boss was. I'm going out there and I'm taking what I want. I'm taking what I think I deserve, what I know I deserve, and I'm not letting anybody go above me. That was the boss. That's what we loved. Now, what happened was, the boss has turned into nothing more than Bayley's bitch. I know the truth hurts, but that's the fucking sidekick now of Bayley. Sasha Banks has just become Bayley negative 2.0 because we already have a Bayley character and that has failed on the main roster. Sure, some fucking kids are wearing fucking glasses and shirts with Bayley's name on it. That's great. You get some of that merch sales. You get the kids all riled up. That's fucking awesome. Maybe even some grown-ups. Some. But for Bayley, that's a flop. In NXT, she was something big in that small pond. She got to the big pond, and now she's a little fish in that big pond. And on the main roster. Sasha Banks doesn't need to be another Bayley because, again, the Bayley character didn't work anyway on the main roster. So now you watch this Boss and Hug connection. There's a WWE.com interview up right now with Sasha and Bayley. And Bayley is literally patting Sasha on the head at the beginning of the video like she's some younger sister or that annoying little friend that you're trying to, get to the back, I don't want to be seen with you. A little pat on the head, like a parent to a child. And Sasha Banks is holding her hands and shaking, back and forth like a coy, shy little... Honestly, she looks like an abused child victim. Like she's a victim of child abuse. And Bayley is fucking the aggressive parent. And Sasha Banks is scared to say anything around Bayley. And she's kind of got her hands together and she looks down and she's got this shy little smile. She doesn't know when to talk. That was a very cringeworthy, awkward interview to watch. Once was the boss, somebody who at least brought out this confidence. We know Mercedes is insecure as a person. We know that, right? You can see that in her eyes. You can see that in her smile. There is this insecurity in real life where Mercedes looks up to Bayley in real life like I envy that in a way. I respect that to the point where I envy it because she can just be so carefree and really enjoy the day, enjoy the life that she is living. While I really do have a chip on my shoulder, I really do want to be the best, and I'm never really happy. So I think Mercedes sees Bayley as always like this go-lucky, happy individual, And deep down, Mercedes, the person who plays Sasha Banks, she knows she's not really happy. She knows there's so much more she wants to achieve professionally. She knows the struggles that she had to endure growing up. Those are all still there mentally with Mercedes. So now on camera, at least on camera, the boss showed confidence. The boss made it a point to let everyone know she's got that chip on her shoulder, but she made it a point to let everyone know I'm coming for that ass because I'm going for that heavyweight women's championship in NXT and on Raw and SmackDown. WWE always held the boss down, but that's why we loved her even more. Because she kept on going out there and showing she's the best. She didn't give in to authority. She kept leaving these tweets on social media or whatever it was, showing that she is going to fight the establishment. And she feels she is the best. And in a roundabout way, she would always do these kind of cryptic messages via social media that kind of told everybody she knows where she should be. And she knows they're not putting her there. Now what happened is the boss is no more. The boss is dead. Now we have Bayley negative 2.0. This is just not just Bayley's sidekick, not just another Bayley buddy, because that's what Sasha Banks is. Sasha Banks is nothing more than a Bayley buddy right now. One of those fucking weird little things at the Bayley's entrance. Sasha's no more better than that. And now Sasha Banks in interviews looks all shy and timid, again, like she's a victim of child abuse from Bayley. And it looks like somebody who is just the most insecure, timid motherfucker. And I hate that type of person. People that just don't stand up, have some pride, put your chest out, bump out your fucking delts, walk with fucking passion and pride, have respect for yourself. And now Sasha's like, oh shucks, gee willikers, I'm just so happy to be on the roster. I'm happy to be traveling the world with my best friend and being in a tag team. That's not the boss though. So you say, why, please don't hate Sasha. Again, it's not about fucking hate. This is about critiquing pro wrestling. So it's about disliking a storyline or disliking a character. And that's where we're at with Sasha. The boss is what we all loved and who we loved. The boss is no more. The boss has now turned into another Bayley character. And Bayley, we couldn't fucking stay, unless you were the kids or that small group that loved Bayley, that's cool. But most of us couldn't understand, didn't want to understand, and didn't want to deal with that Bayley character. And now Sasha Banks is just another Bayley. So I hope you guys understand, and when I say you guys, I mean people that are okay with this boss and hug connection. And you don't understand where people like me are so upset. It's because Sasha Banks is no longer the boss. And that's why we loved her. We don't want to see another we don't want to see another. Does that sound familiar, what I just described? Sasha Banks is like, oh shucks, man. This is just a dream come true. I'm with my best friend and we're in a tag team and we're traveling the world and oh shucks. Sound familiar? That's Bayley's character. Bayley told Steve Austin one time on his podcast, I don't care if I get the championship. I just want everybody to get it. I want everyone to experience it. I want everyone to get a chance with it. Like it's a participation trophy. Bayley wants everyone to get the fucking championship. Bayley admitted so many times she's so happy just to be on the roster and being able to travel. Where Sasha Banks was different, guys. Where Sasha Banks actually came out in interviews and said, I want to be the best. I'm not happy. I understand. She always says, what a life, she says, right? I get to travel. I get to be with my best friend. Blah, blah, blah. I got to fucking create all these epic first-time moments. But I want to be the best. I know what I still have to prove, and I know what I'm going to do. That's the boss. To see her in these type of interviews with Bayley, where Bayley looks like the grown-up adult, and Sasha Banks looks like the little fucking lost stepchild, it's criminal. This is not the boss. This is Bayley negative 2.0. That is why we don't like it, guys. So many people are trying to like that. BC, the reason she's in a tag team is because of Ronda Rousey, and WWE has a different creative way that they're going for the next year. They're really going to pump up Charlotte on SmackDown, Ronda Rousey on Raw. So BC, they don't have anything for Sasha. So wouldn't the best thing to be is put her with Bayley and at least become the first ever tag team championships for the women? That's good, BC. No, not at all. You're becoming complacent. You're just going along with WWE and the bullshit they're trying to sell you. You're telling me because they want to give the championship to Ronda Rousey, even if they want to give it to her for 2 fucking years, you're telling me they can't do any other storyline to make Sasha Banks look like a legit badass and a legit boss? Speak about boss, remember the Big Boss Man? Maybe a lot of you guys are younger, maybe you don't. But back in the day, there was an individual called the Big Boss Man. He was hardly ever in main events. He was never going for heavyweight championships. But the Big Boss Man, growing up, is one of the most best epic storylines. He was in some of the most epic storylines for me as a kid growing up. And it never had anything to do with a championship. There was a Mountie. This was a fucking Law and Order from a different country who came over here and wanted to teach the Big Boss Man what real Law and Order is. Then there was a feud where the Big Boss Man, there was an inmate that he had in prison, and he's back for revenge. So this fucking inmate was basically stalking him for 3 or 4 weeks, finally hit an arena, jumped him from behind one time at Superstars of Wrestling, and that started a kick-ass feud. My point is, you could do so many cool matches and things with Sasha while you're holding off for her recapturing the championship. You just gotta get a little creative. But this just seems like a lackluster, poorly thought out backup plan. Let's create tag team championships and let's put Sasha with Bayley. That way we don't have to worry about them anymore. And we could just really focus on who we want as the main eventers for the women. And we'll just put Sasha and Bayley together. Well, that's great for Bayley because she was lost in translation anyway. Bayley was in obscurity. So this actually makes her very important. She gets a tag team championship. For Sasha Banks, she loses everything in this deal. Sasha Banks got demoted. Sasha should be going for championships or an epic one-on-one singles feuds that captivate us storyline-wise. Instead, she's going for tag team championships later this year, maybe. That's it. Sasha Banks, who is probably the best female right now for the women, one of the best fucking superstars, period, include the fucking men, and she's going for tag team for the next year at least. She's going to be tied down with Bayley. BC, that's the best way for her right now. No, you're just going around with the simpleton like the WWE wants you to be. Because the truth is, you should be able to create storylines for your top talent. When Hulk Hogan wasn't going for the championship at WrestleMania 8, they just didn't put him in a tag team or keep him off the card. They put him in a good feud with Sid Justice. You have to understand that there is always great storytelling to be told. You don't have to throw people together and just brush them aside so you don't have to be creative. Because now what has happened is Sasha Banks is now reduced to Bayley's sidekick, Bayley's bitch. Because that's how she's acting. I still wouldn't be on board with the Boss and Hug connection. A, the name is totally fucking horrible. But B, I wouldn't be on board with Sasha being in a tag team with anybody. But on top of that, you're taking away the Boss character, and now she's just an insecure, even worse character, a knockoff character of what Bayley is. That's the truth. We lost the Boss, and we just gained another Bayley. And then you say, well, BC, now what they're doing, Sasha has transitioned into trying to bump up kids and women as far as merchandise sales. And the fan base for the Boss and Hug Connection, BC, is going to be mostly kids and females now. And Sasha wants to play the role of like a role model like Bayley. I call bullshit on that too. First of all, if that is the case and they want to do that, that's great. That's fucking awesome. But I'm going to drop some numbers on you guys. You guys ready for this? Bayley has 1.1 million followers over on social media, on Twitter. 1.1. That's her growth with her women and her kids, and that's, guys, that is what being one of the top talents in NXT for even longer than Sasha Banks was there. Sasha Banks had to get booted over to the main roster. NXT, Bayley was still fucking being the top dog down there. And she has 1.1 million followers. Sasha Banks has 1.6 plus million followers on Twitter. That tells you that Sasha Banks, even though her character wasn't garnered toward kids and women specifically, because she was that boss character, she had more of a following. So now she's a knockoff version, just another Bayley character, but Bayley has less followers than Sasha Banks. So more people like the boss character than a Bayley character. And Bayley had social media. Bayley had Twitter for a full year before Sasha. She joined in 2010. Sasha joined in 2011, according to what it says. So Bayley had another whole full year ahead of Sasha and still only has 1.1. But now we're gonna dumb down Sasha Banks to Bayley. Okay, the one who's more popular, let's dumb her down. Why can't Bayley be more of the fucking boss character? Oh wait, she is. They flipped roles, right? Now Bayley is becoming the boss, and Sasha Banks is the fucking, oh, I'm just happy to be traveling with my friend. Think about it. They've been traveling together. They've been on Raw for the longest time. So they've been doing this for months now. For years they've been traveling together. And they've been a tag team for months. How many times have they taken on the Riot Squad? 117 times, right? So they've already been in a tag team. They wasted a perfect opportunity to turn this into a multi-month feud and make both significant, and they're just thrusting them together for what will be eventually, we think, a tag team championship. The first ever women's tag team champions. Woo! Who the fuck cares? They can't even manage their men's tag team division. You think this division's gonna be fucking epic? I'm going to drop more numbers for you because anybody's saying they're for the kids now, BC, and they're for, like, the women, BC, but mostly the kids, and they're going to try to sell merchandise. That's what the boss and hug connection is going to be now. Well, here's my personal, on this channel, these are my numbers, guys, and my analytics, and it goes 93% of the people that watch my videos are 18 years old and older. 93%. 5% are 13 to 17 years old. 5%, 13 to 17. And 2% of the people that watch my channel is under the age of 13. 2%. So even if you add in everybody under 17 that watch my videos, that's only 7% of your audience. But that's just my channel. Maybe a little bit of a more grown-up individual likes my channel, right? We swear a lot, we get amplified. Okay, so let's go to WWE's analytics. The audience that watches WWE, according to Bleacher Report, just a few years ago, this study came out, or at least they did this research, 80% of WWE's audience is over the age of 17. 20% is between the ages of 2 and 17. 20%. Guys, what that tells you is that, and that's 2 to 17, 20%. Now, Sasha Banks is now leaving the 80% in that boss character and all the people like me that really wanted to see her succeed and were behind her from day one. She's basically ditching that and she's going to that 20%. Hey, we're not going to play her hate. All the best to you. Sometimes that small niche can create the best results. I'm still a small channel on YouTube on this platform because YouTube is still in flux, right? They don't want to suggest my videos to anyone else. They like to take people off my channel, unsubscribe me without them knowing or me knowing. They like to demonetize my videos. They still have not clicked with this new wave of YouTube in the individuals that are creating content. So YouTube is still tying me down, but I ain't bitching and complaining because I know that even though I'm one of the smaller channels, I have one of the best audiences. And I still make damn good fucking money making these videos, and I still get damn great audiences watching every video. And we get to connect like these videos, like Amp Q&A. So all the best with her transition to that 20%. And I hope the kids and the younger ladies and the adults that do watch you, I hope they fucking love the boss and hug connection. But for people like me, I can't do that. I know who the boss was and is and should be. At least, even though WWE and Vince McMahon kept holding you down, at least the boss, at least Sasha Banks, at least Mercedes never gave up. You could see the fucking pain in her and the anguish and the depression that she knows where she should be and she's being tied down. And she didn't give up. And she kept going out there to try to steal the show. That's why we stayed keeping behind her. But if you're just gonna roll over and become Bayley's fucking sidekick, Bayley buddy bitch, you're no longer the boss, you're Bayley's secretary now. If you're gonna look like a fucking child abuse victim in your interviews, and you don't even know if you can speak, and you're so shy, you can't even look up, and you're all just you're just so happy just to be wrestling on the roster. If that's who you are now, then you're no better than Bayley. I was never on board with Bayley to begin with. So, it's not about hate. We love fucking Sasha Banks. Personally, there's no fucking connection between me and fucking Mercedes. I can give a shit about Mercedes, no offense. I wish her nothing but the best. I don't want to meet Sasha Banks in real life. I don't give a fuck about meeting Sasha Banks. I don't care if Sasha Banks is an asshole and doesn't sign autographs at airports, or if she'll go into a McDonald's and buy you dinner, or a fucking Olive Garden, or a fucking fancy 5-star restaurant, and she buys you a dinner. I don't care. I critique the product. And I told you the boss Sasha Banks is one of the best characters and individuals and talents on the roster. And now, if I'm telling the truth, she no longer is one of the best characters on the roster. One of the best talents? I want to say yes, but the past several weeks, we don't know. Because everybody's saying that the Boss and Hug connection is the best thing for Sasha Banks right now because she was just going to be thrown into obscurity. Everyone's saying that. I'm calling your bullshit because a couple of weeks ago they were taking on jobbers in a 3-minute match. 3 minutes. Do you guys remember that match? No. You know why? Because it was insignificant. But I thought the Boss and Hug connection was going to have great stories going forward now. No. It was a jobber match 2 weeks ago. Nobody remembered. Last week they just took on the Riot Squad for the 118th time. So now they just have fancy matching outfits, and now they have a tag team name, but they're still having the same matches. So of course you're not going to remember it. Or you're going to try to forget it because it's the Riot Squad versus Sasha and Bayley for the 118th time. Sasha Banks is no longer the boss. She is Bayley's buddy now. She's Bayley's sidekick. She's a Bayley buddy with the frailing fucking arms. And because of that, no, I can no longer support Sasha Banks the way I once did. This will always be a Sasha Banks Pro channel. And so many of my subscribers on this channel are Sasha Banks fans. And we'll always stay together. And we'll fucking hope that one day the boss will return. But we're not going to cling on to it. And we're going to critique Sasha Banks matches every single week the only way I know how. Truthfully. Just because we love Sasha Banks as a talent doesn't mean I'm not going to call bullshit when I see it. So until the boss ever returns, if she ever does, no, I cannot fully support Sasha Banks the way I once did. And now I just hope that Ember Moon and Naomi can step the fuck up and become my new number ones. We'll always love Sasha. But Ember Moon and Naomi now have to step the fuck up because it looks like Sasha Banks is going to play Bayley's bitch for the next year while I get tag team championships. While Sasha gets demoted and Bayley gets promoted. In the median age, let me just drop one more little piece of nuggets. The median age of wrestling fans in 2000 was 28. 28 years old was the average age of a wrestling fan back in 2000. Now in 2017 was the last conducted study. 54 years old is the average. I don't understand that, but that was a well drawn out study that was concluded. And they said 54 years old. Now, granted, you have to add in the fact that a lot of today's youth is watching outside of just on Monday nights or Tuesday nights. And they're watching the next morning on Hulu. Or they're watching a few hours later on their fucking tablets or iPhones or who the fuck knows. So maybe the older crowd is still on their television sets. I understand that. But it goes with my earlier numbers. 80% is over the age of 17. So Sasha Banks is playing to a really small crowd now in the kids. I hope it goes well for her because she lost people like me that stood behind that boss character. And even if it took 2 or 3 years down the line, we were going to make sure, as her audience, as her fans, that we get that championship back on her. Just like when we stood up for Daniel Bryan with that injustice and we said Daniel Bryan deserves that spot and we made him get that championship. We made WWE give him that belt. Just like we did with Naomi when we felt that was fucking criminal what was happening to her. And I started right on this channel. I started that push for Naomi, and we did it, didn't we? We got the job done, and that strap went over to Naomi. And I was willing to do that for Sasha Banks until she got that strap back and for a long time. But I can't support this boss and hug connection. If you can, that's awesome. That's your opinion, and that's your take on it. I respect that, but you gotta respect mine. I can't do that shit. I'm a fan of Sasha Banks, the fucking boss. Not little insecure Bayley negative 2.0. Not that character. Not that person. I don't even know that Sasha Banks. For me, this was the rise and fall of Sasha Banks. Knowing where Sasha Banks once was and knowing where she is now, that was the rise and fall. And that leads me into a question about this. And then I'll end this whole Sasha Banks beginning of this video. But this is from 2525 Derek. Hey BC, longtime follower, first time commenter. Thank you 2525 Derek. Comment more often. I don't bite. For amplified Q&A, do you think Sasha vs. Bayley can be saved and properly built up to an epic high-profile match for the Evolution pay-per-view? Maybe with a massive long breakup pull-apart backstage brawl at SummerSlam, with Sasha finally turning full-on heel and backstabbing Bayley from behind, or vice versa. How would you do it? Or do you think they're too far gone and have been totally ruined by creative? Much love and respect. Right back at you, 2525 Derek. Much love and respect back to you. It's too far gone. That's another thing I'm hearing. BC, it's going to lead to a breakup eventually. It doesn't make sense. First of all, you've already had them beat up each other, then become friends. Then beat up each other, then become friends. At this point, it's laughable if I'm like, oh, finally a heel turn. I don't give a fuck about a heel turn anymore. And that's laughable if at SummerSlam, all of this was a Sasha Banks plan to backstab Bayley. Do you know how laughable that is? Think about how stupid that would make Sasha Banks look. If she went out, paid all this money for matching attire, spent all this time together with Bayley, all to hit her from behind at SummerSlam. All of that was just to attack Bayley when she could have done it anywhere. Backstage, when Bayley's coming out of fucking Wendy's, out of the bathroom, Sasha Banks is waiting for her, going to the rental car place, heading out of the hotel. You're telling me Sasha Banks created this plan in her head that for months she was going to befriend Bayley and then, out of nowhere, attack her. What is Sasha going to do? Haha, I got you. You thought we were friends. I went out and paid all this money for matching attire. We spent every fucking night together eating dinner. And I punched you in your face. Ha ha ha. What the fuck is that going to do? I don't care if they split up at SummerSlam. I just want them to split up, period, first of all. So I take that back. I will be happy. But I'm not going to give a fuck as far as Bayley versus Sasha anymore. That's done. Creative has fucked that up. Because now I don't believe the story. Sasha befriended Bayley for 2 fucking months just to beat her up at SummerSlam. It makes 0 sense. Nobody can backstab each other now. It's bullshit. I don't give a fuck if Bayley takes on Sasha at Evolution or Survivor Series or next year anymore. What is this going to lead to? First they get tag team championships and maybe at WrestleMania or Royal Rumble they break up. WrestleMania they finally take on each other at WrestleMania. I don't care. I'm done with Bayley and Sasha. It's over. For me. If you guys still want to see it, more power to you. For me, it's fucking done. Sasha Banks has been ruined. First it was by creative. Now Sasha Banks is ruining herself. Self-sabotage. Making herself look like this insecure little puppet to Bayley. Bayley gains everything. Sasha lost everything in this tag team. Absolutely fucking bogus. The former boss and bogus connection. That's what this is. I'll think of a better name. If you guys got a fun name for this tag team, put it down below, will you? We have to rename this fucking despicable, pathetic fucking duo of Bayley and Sasha. Because it's absolutely fucking pathetic. For me, anyway. If I know for a lot of fans of the boss, Sasha Banks, this is not the boss. That is not Sasha Banks. That's all I'm going to say about it. What was that, 20 fucking minutes, give or take? 25 minutes? Who the fuck knows, man? But, I just want you guys to know where I stand, because you guys know this is a pro Sasha Banks channel. You guys know I haven't been happy with this storyline in Sasha's character the past couple of weeks. So that's where we stand. No longer do I support her like I once did. I want to one day support her like I once did. She's going to have to show me a lot fucking different aspect of her character and her storyline than what we're seeing right now for me to do that. Right now, Ember Moon and Naomi have taken, I should say, the top 1 and 2 spots. I have to see who's number 1. Naomi has to, first of all, get her ass back on SmackDown. Creative is keeping her off. I don't know if it's nagging injuries or Creative just doesn't have shit. Put Naomi on television. Ember Moon has to have great fucking spots on that roster. And then I'm going to pick 1 and 2, man. Sasha Banks, this was the rise and fall, at least for the Amplified man, of Sasha Banks. And that sucks to say, because I really do love Sasha Banks' talent, her skill level, and what she brought to the arena every single night she stepped foot in that ring. And it sucks to see where she's at now. Again, there's a lot of younger audience out there, and maybe even some grown-ups that are like, I love the Boston Hug Connection. And maybe there's a 7-year-old on a YouTube channel. He has his own YouTube, 7 years old. Fuck you, Beasley. Beasley, fuck you. I love the Boston Hug Connection. You don't know what you're talking about, Beasley. This is amazing, and they're going to be tag team champions. And Beasley, this is the greatest thing in the world. So shut up, Beasley. I hope you get hit by a bus, Beasley. I hope you severely get hit by buses, Beastie. Multiple buses. One bus hits you, you flip into the other lane, and another bus runs you over, Beastie. And I hope your whole family gets picked up in a tornado, Beastie. And they get dropped in the Atlantic Ocean, Beastie. And they can't swim, Beastie. And sharks come, Beastie. And the Coast Guard can't find them, Beastie. And fuck you, Beastie. I love the Boston Hug Connection, Beastie. Maybe there is that 7-year-old out there too. Hey man, best power to you. And you can hate me all you want, man. There's already blood on my hands, bro. I've already, yeah. I'm already the fucking boogeyman. So you can hate me all you want. I don't give a fuck. I can hold my own. But, if you do love this, that's on you. And you're gonna see. They can't even book their men's tag team division correctly. What makes you think Bayley and Sasha are going to be anything fucking epic? Are they going to have jobber matches? Are they going to take on the Riot Squad 17 more times? Are they going to put together Alicia Fox and maybe Nia Jax one week, and that's going to be the big tag match? Every week we get to see Sasha and Bayley in a tag match! The same thing we were trying to get away from, now they're just stuck together. Because they're going to be tag team champions. Woohoo! Bayley buddies! Let's all be shy in our interviews. Oh my god, I'm traveling the world with my best friend. This is crazy. I'm done. Let's move on with Amplified Q&A. So I said a couple of minutes ago, what was that, 25 minutes? No, we're going on like minute 37, minute 38 right now. So the first few minutes of this video I did talk about Brian Christopher, but that was a fucking half an hour talking about the frustrations of the the former Boston Bogus connection. Bogus and Bogus Connect. We gotta think of a fun name, man. Somebody think of a cool name down below. Because we cannot call this. I'm gonna feel like it's Sesame Street. Every Raw review I do. The Boston Hug Connection was the next match. And the Boston and Hug Connection took the victory. It was fucking amazing. Boston Hug Connection. I feel like it's fucking sad. I feel like I'm fucking 5 years old. No. We gotta think of something different. So, who do you want to go? Dwayne, BC, much love and respect for you and your show. I have a major question. What do you think if Jesse the Body Ventura was to come back and sit across Michael Cole? Total respect. I think it would be cool. I like Jesse the Body Ventura. Obviously, you're talking about a time when I was growing up and he was one of the best broadcasters. He'll forever go down as one of the best broadcasters ever in the business. But I don't think that's going to happen. As Jesse Ventura said in a recent interview, he said Vince McMahon doesn't want to bring him back because Jesse Ventura put a lawsuit on WWE, took Vince McMahon to court, and made sure that every time they use Jesse the Body Ventura in an old event, old video, whatever, Jesse Ventura has to get paid for it. So Vince McMahon is sticking it to Jesse Ventura, and because Jesse Ventura is the one that started those lawsuits, Vince McMahon is holding a little bit of a grudge. And he knows, Jesse Ventura says that he knows if he brings Jesse back, every time Jesse is on an event, in the future, he'll get paid for that. Whenever that comes out, either on the network or on a DVD or anything like that. So there's a little bit of a grudge there. I don't think we're going to be seeing Jesse Ventura, but that would still be fucking badass. Ventura still has it in him. Let's go, Mike. Love you, BC. But my buddy was at Raw, and they weren't chanting, "We want Roman." He says they were chanting, "We want Strowman." I already went over this on Raw. No, absolutely false. And I can back that up with facts. After you hear the "We want Roman," or what some of you people think was "We want Strowman," listen to the counter chant. It was "No, we don't," and "Roman sucks." Why would they chant "No, we don't" if people are chanting "We want Strowman"? Yes, we do want to see a cash-in, right? Get the strap off of Brock. So that makes no sense. They're chanting "We want Strowman," but people are saying "No, we don't." And then they're chanting "We want Strowman," and they're saying Roman sucks. Listen, open your ear. It's common sense, guys. But then Mike got really put in his place when my boy Rocco, who's always he's always looking to troll motherfuckers who are getting out of line. I love that shit. And much props, much love and respect, Rocco. Rocco comes out and comments back to Mike, "Don't listen to this idiot, BC." We're not going to call names, though, Rocco. I don't condone that at all. I was there live, Rocco says, and it was definitely "We want Roman" chants. Like always, you're always right, BC. That's why I only watch you. Thank you, Rocco. But thank you for clearing that up. So Mike says, my buddy was there, and he's saying it was "We want Strowman." Well, Rocco was there live, and he said, I call bullshit. It was "We want Roman" because I was there. But I didn't need Rocco to even stand up for me there because I already know. I use common sense. We want Roman. No, we don't. We want Roman. Roman sucks. Strowman doesn't fit in that equation at all. Common sense. Come on, guys. Let's keep this rocking. V Punisher. Hey, BC, love the channel. Thank you, V Punisher. For Q&A, do you think Heyman will cost Lesnar the championship now, since obviously Lesnar turned on Heyman? Or will he not do anything and the WWE have Strowman cash in after Roman wins somehow? Much love and respect. Check you later. Much love and respect right back to you. I don't know if it was a full turn. I don't think Lesnar fully turned on Paul Heyman. He grabbed him by the face, said, "Do you see that?" to Kurt Angle, and kind of left him alone. I think Paul Heyman is going to be by Brock Lesnar's side come Sunday the 19th of August. However, I do think there's going to be something that happens. I don't know what that is. I don't know if one of them is going to turn on each other. But who do you put Paul Heyman with? I honestly believe after Lesnar leaves, Paul Heyman is going to be done with WWE for a while. Who do you put him with? They're not going to do a Roman heel turn, and even if they do, they're not going to square him up with Paul Heyman. They're not going to put Strowman with Heyman. Baron Corbin, maybe? Because Lesnar got in Corbin's face, and Corbin hightailed it out of the ring. Maybe Corbin somehow cost, but do we give a fuck if Corbin is in the main event costing Lesnar a match? But I'm just saying, that's a possibility to try to get Corbin up. Maybe you tag him up with Paul Heyman. I don't know. But who do you tag Paul Heyman with? I don't know. I don't think there's a clear answer. I think after Lesnar leaves, I think Heyman leaves too. I really do, guys. Pete, Amp Q&A. How would you book a triple threat between the AOP, the Bludgeon Brothers, and the War Raiders? If you don't mind, I call the War Raiders War Machine still, because that's who they are to me. They're the War Machine. But between the War Raiders, Bludgeon Brothers, AOP, how would I book that, and which team would you carry the division into the future as the dominant beasts? Much love and respect to you since day one, BC. Also, where's 2.0? God bless you, brother, and thank you so much. 2.0, back in prison. It's a long story. We're not going to get into it. As far as who would I book as the dominant beast between War Machine or the War Raiders, Bludgeon Brothers, and AOP, AOP has been being booked as lackluster bums. I talk about criminal booking. That's criminal. AOP has been looking like bums the last 2 weeks. So I can't even look at them as dominant beasts right now. So it really comes down to War Machine or War Raiders and the fucking Bludgeon Brothers. And if that's the case, there's a lot of similarities between the two. And they complement each other very much so. And very realistically. I think it would be a great match. However, I would have the Bludgeon Brothers as the dominant beasts going forward. That's my choice. Bludgeon Brothers. Good question, Pete. Michael, yo BC, for Amp Q&A, I heard Matt Riddle has signed a 3-year deal with WWE. My questions are, where would you put him, NXT or the main roster? How would you book him, and how the fuck is he going to pass a piss test? Love your vids. You're my favorite YouTube channel. Keep up the good work, bro. Thank you, Michael. First question, I think you have to put him on NXT. because of your third question, how is he going to pass a piss test? You really want to see if he's going to behave the right way for WWE standards. So you have to put him as a behavioral issue in NXT. I'm going to answer your third question next. How the fuck is he going to pass a piss? I have no fucking idea. He admits he loves to fucking smoke a lot of weed. He's like RVD and John Morrison. RVD and John Morrison are not with WWE right now, mainly because they like to smoke weed. So maybe Matt Riddle's trying to get in like John Morrison and just get a couple of years, get his name recognition, collect some good money, and then he knows he's going to get busted 3 times for weed, marijuana, and then he's going to be exiting back to the indie scenes. Because Matt Riddle was going great on the indie scenes anyway. So maybe he doesn't give a fuck if he fails 3 times. But maybe if they put him in NXT, he'll behave until he gets to the main roster at least. But does WWE put enough stock in him? Make him a superstar, or try to, and then he turns around and bites him in the ass and gets 3 convictions on his marijuana fucking tests, right? Negative tests, whatever the fuck you want to call it, man. If he fails 3 piss tests, all of the work that WWE did for Matt Riddle, out the window. I'm amazed they even offered him a contract. I really am. I mean, obviously a great talent, but I mean, when he fully admits, I mean, it's basically John Morrison and RVD all over again. They got all the talent in the world, but their issues internally and what they like to do externally outside of WWE got in the way of them professionally in WWE. So that's my thoughts on that. As far as how would I book them? Yeah, keep them in NXT and then you take them to the main roster. And you just book him private. You don't need any magic booking. You put him in the right spotlight with the right people, and you let himself shine. Introduce himself to the world correctly, and then you could put him in cool storylines. But somebody like Matt Riddle speaks for himself. Rowdy Nation Powers, BC, hope this ends up in Q&A. If you were booking the Mae Young Classic, what and how are you willing to change it for the matches to be 5 or 10-star classics? Much love and respect, BC. I don't think we can really put these Dave Meltzer imaginary stars on all these matches, guys. I don't like that. The Mae Young Classic is going to deliver. You're going to have some of the best talented females all come together for this tournament. I think it's going to be fine. There's nothing that the Amplified Man has to change or would do differently. You let him go out there and you let him wrestle. I personally don't like tournaments. You guys know that. Predetermined tournaments don't do anything. A tournament is for fucking Major League Baseball, NBA playoffs, NFL. Those are tournaments. Professional wrestling, it's all predetermined. I don't watch pro wrestling to watch tournaments. To me, I want an epic story, good guy versus bad guy, hero versus villain, and then the ultimate payoff in a match. After a good story has been told, hopefully at like a pay-per-view, you have an epic payoff in a match. That's what I love about pro wrestling. I don't need tournaments because I know the shit's predetermined. The fuck do I want to watch the same person? 5 fucking matches. Like this is some real fucking shit where, oh my god, wow, he won 5 times. I don't like tournaments, man. They have to be used in the exact right way. I feel WrestleMania 4, when Macho Man Randy Savage became champion of the world over Ted DiBiase, I felt that was a kick-ass tournament because it was used in the right way at the right time. Very rarely do I like these tournaments these days. But I think they'll be fine. They're going to go out there and put on good and even great wrestling matches for the ladies. So I think the Mae Young Classic will go off without a hitch. They don't need my booking. Frank, KBC, any idea what's going on with Johnny Wrestling? I was hoping to see him on the SummerSlam card with SmackDown. Johnny Wrestling, I believe, just got attacked by Aleister Black just this week on NXT, so it doesn't look like he's leaving anytime soon. Looks like they're setting up something, while they might have something else for Tommaso Ciampa down the line, it looks like they're also setting up something with Aleister Black and Johnny Wrestling. Now, maybe Johnny Wrestling has his last match for NXT in Brooklyn on the 18th of August, and then maybe he shows up SummerSlam, or maybe he shows up a couple days after SummerSlam on SmackDown. But it looks like he's going to continue on with NXT. He's a victim of not being able to get out of NXT. Like a lot of people just have stuck there for a year, sometimes 2 years. Then again, maybe that's a good thing. Because on the main roster, maybe they'll fuck up Johnny Wrestling like they do so many other people. I didn't think you could possibly fuck up the AOP. And somehow they fucking fucked up the AOP. How the fuck do you... They're 2 monsters. Oh, I tell you, man. Carter. I haven't even watched this vid yet. Well, that's always, but you might want to watch it and then comment. But anyway, Carter, thank you for at least watching it eventually and commenting. I haven't watched this vid yet, but I've had this written for a long time. So you put some thought into this. Let's hear it out. I've had this written for a long time to wait for my opportunity to use it. All right. I have a question. I know you might not, but it seems like you dislike Alexa Bliss a lot. Why is that, BC? I know people say she has no talent and doesn't take bumps, but she said in an interview recently that the reason she doesn't take bumps and doesn't do all these cool moves is because she doesn't want to be received by the crowd as a superstar that does cool moves, because that could make her come across as a face. That sounds a little far-fetched. She doesn't have great matches because she doesn't want to be looked at as a face? The fuck? Sasha Banks was a heel. She was trying to steal the show. I don't understand that at all. But there was an individual, JB, not JBL, just JB, who commented, and I think this sums it up pretty good. So if you don't mind, Carter, part of my answer is going to be reading this comment that Jay had commented back to you from your original question. JB says, what Alexa said is utterly bullshit. She can take bumps. She could do cool moves and still be a heel. Everyone takes bumps. That's part of it. So for her not to take bumps is her simply being weak and lazy. About performing cool moves, all she has to do after hitting the cool move is show off, brag to her opponent and audience. She's too small to be the laziest in WWE. When you think of the smaller superstars, you think the Rey Mysterios, which were anything but lazy. I agree with JB, man. I call bullshit, man. I like it. And by the way, the first part of your question, it seems like you dislike Alexa Bliss. Why is that? I don't dislike critiquing the product. I think Alexa Bliss is a 5-time champion and holding the championship as long as she has. I think that is criminal. Absolutely. When you have somebody like Sasha Banks on the roster. No question. I absolutely admit that. But disliking her, I think that's a little strong. Disliking the way she's used, disliking the way creative has put her in such a light, which I don't think she should be used in. But I actually like Alexa. That means you don't actually watch these videos from top to bottom. I actually like Alexa Bliss. I critique her like I do anyone else. There's times you're going to hear me hit Alexa Bliss really hard. I love Sasha Banks. I hit her exceptionally hard in this video. But that's part of it. I critique the product. And that's the dislike. I actually like Alexa Bliss, though. She's a sweetheart when she does interviews and meeting with people and taking photos when she doesn't have to. I've never met her, but this is all what was told to me and from what I've seen from Alexa Bliss. She's a sweetheart. I actually like her. But you ain't gonna tell me she's a 5-time champion and holding the championship for months in a cumulative, probably over a fucking year, well over a year if you put them all together. And Sasha's a 4-time champion for like 2 months? Combined? I don't like that type of booking. And I understand Alexa Bliss can carry a storyline because she's good on the microphone. And sometimes you need the title on a heel that can talk on the mic to elevate storylines. The problem is, Alexa Bliss hasn't really elevated any real storyline that we gave a fuck about. And when it comes time for the ultimate payoff at the pay-per-view from the aforementioned storylines, the matches usually suck. That has a lot to do with Alexa not taking a lot of chances. There was one time that sticks out in my mind that Alexa took a chance. I believe it was the Elimination Chamber. She got up on one of the pods and she leaped off of it. I like that. Let's see more of that. Isn't she a former gymnast or some shit? Or was it a fucking physique competitor? I thought it was a gymnast too, though. If it wasn't a gymnast, then I apologize. If she was a former gymnast of any kind, she should be doing flips and dives all over the place. And now I know, BC thought you don't like flips and dives or don't need it. I don't. But sometimes you can switch it up and ooh and ah us in your match. Too many Alexa Bliss matches fly under the radar, and we never give a fuck about them. We don't give a fuck about them before the match, we don't give a fuck about them during the match, and we forgot about the match after the match. Alexa Bliss has to try new shit in there. Dare to be different, dare to take a chance. Ain't nothing about dislike. But I do call bullshit in that interview. Alright guys, so we're fastly approaching an hour, man. My Sasha Banks opening monologue kind of took so fucking long. I apologize, guys. I had to X out a lot of questions I was going to do. But let me just belt out a few more real quick. Amanda, for Q&A, is Hankerson Henderson working for the Rosebuds? And will Cheesehead Charlie ever get out of the bathroom? Cheesehead Charlie, we don't even know which bathroom or where, in what state, what fucking country he's in. So I don't think he's getting out of a bathroom anytime soon. As far as Hankerson Henderson, yes, I can confirm Hankerson Henderson has been a Rosebud. You may know it as a conga line participant for No Way Jose. So that's a little insider tip for you. Good job, Hankerson Henderson. Try to get me a meeting with Triple H so I can talk some sense into creative. Brian, hey BC, what if AJ Lee versus Sasha Banks at Evolution pay-per-view? What if that happened? What kind of match would you put them in, and who would you have win? Well, first of all, AJ Lee versus Sasha Banks, you put them in a best-of-3 match. Why not? Let's see who really is the definitive winner. Not just some fluke victory or a roll-up. No, you're going to have to win 2 times to prove you're the fucking best in that one night. I like that. As far as who would I have win, we'll wait to see if that match ever happens in the future. Then I'll tell you, I'll book that shit. We'll go Evolution Gaming, BC, for Amplified Q&A. Mickie James has challenged Trish Stratus for the all-women's pay-per-view Evolution. Would you mind seeing Psycho Mickie James versus Trish Stratus one last time? That sounds amazing. But there's two sides of this coin, right? You gotta flip that motherfucker on heads, and then you gotta flip it on tails and see that side as well. Because on one side, you could have epic matches one last time, like Mickie James versus Trish Stratus, or Mickie James versus Lita. There's a lot of people that want to see those type of matches. But there's also a lot of people that want to see Trish take on the newer talent. Trish Stratus versus like a Charlotte, or Trish Stratus versus an Ember Moon. Trish Stratus versus Sasha Banks. There's so many epic matches I want to see Trish in. It sucks that it's just one night, but I'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers. I wonder where they're going to go. What would you guys like to see? Let me know below. Would you like to see like Trish versus Lita one last time? Trish versus Mickie James? Or would you like to see Trish versus Sasha? Trish versus Ember Moon? Something like that. Trish versus Naomi? That would be badass. Either one of them. I hope Trish Stratus has a few more matches in her future, man. Because I want to see a lot of cool shit from past superstars and current. Amanda. Didn't I already take Amanda? I'll take one more, Amanda. You snuck in an extra one. Somehow it came through. For Q&A, not a WWE-ish question, but what music do you listen to? Are you on my Instagram? You would know. I got a video up of me at the Def Leppard Journey concert. Then there was a video of me at Journey's concert. Then there's a video of me at fucking Rascal Flatts. I go from 80s Coke rock music, hairband music, and rock and roll all the way over to fucking country. Def Leppard to Journey to Rascal Flatts. But then also, if you're on my Instagram, you've seen me do the fucking Kiki Challenge, and you've seen me recite every lyric to fucking Nelly. That's right, Nelly. I can do hip-hop, country, rock and roll, man. It's whatever mood I'm in. I don't pigeonhole myself to one type of music. Whatever mood I'm in, that's the mood I'm in, man. Sometimes I like to put on fucking Goldberg's entrance theme going into Starbucks, and I go in there like a fucking badass out of hell, bro. If I'm in a pissed off mood and there's 30 people in front of me and I can tell it's the workers I can't stand because they don't make a good coffee, I'm Goldberging out, man. I'm going in there like, look at me the wrong way. Look at me the wrong way. Make my coffee wrong. Make it wrong, I dare you. Fucking punch myself, smack my head against the fucking orange. People are like, what the fuck? I don't take it that far. But, it depends on what mood I'm in, really. But I listen to literally, I know you hear that a lot. Oh, I listen to every type of music. I really do, though. I mean, there's some shit I don't like, but, yeah. That's a little tidbit there, man. Where do you want to go? Tevin? Is it Tevin? Tevin Young. Hey, BC, for Amp Q&A, what are your thoughts about Lana's fading accent? Same with Carmella, right? Carmella was that heavy Staten Island accent. Now Carmella kind of lost that. Same with Lana. She's starting to slowly but surely lose that Russian accent altogether. So not surprised, though. I knew that was definitely coming. Ivy, hey BC, do you think Zelina Vega could have a bright future? I think she already has a bright future, and it's only going to get brighter. You really couldn't see her skill level with Lana. She still has a long way to go. She's definitely by far not one of their best wrestlers, but absolutely has a bright future. And don't get it twisted, she might be really short, 4 feet 11, but she can go in the ring. She's got moves. She just has to put them together a lot better than we've seen. But she can go. Don't let her fool you. She's not where she's going to be. She has a lot of work to do. But once she gets those steps in the right order, you're going to see vast improvement from Zelina Vega because she is a superstar. AJ Lee. I don't think this is the AJ Lee, but if it is, what's up, AJ Lee? Either way, AJ Lee for Q&A. If AJ Lee were to... No, so this is not AJ. AJ Lee is asking if she was to come back. For Q&A, if AJ Lee were to come back for Evolution, how do you think AJ should come back? And if she still has it for the women on today's roster? Of course she still has it. AJ Lee, have you seen her lately, like photos? She keeps her body in great conditioning. She's ready to go. AJ Lee will run circles around half that locker room, I bet, for the females. Don't let her fool you. Just like Zelina Vega, AJ Lee can rock it out in that ring still to this day. Yeah. So where else? Is that it, guys? You know what? Let's end it the same way we started with Sasha Banks. Ian, what is Sasha Banks doing? Question mark. Why is she in a tag team? Question mark. So this seems like somebody who just like turned on the channel like, what the fuck happened? This isn't the Sasha I remember. To answer that question, I'm just going to revert everybody back to the beginning of this video, Ian, because I don't know what the fuck happened. This is a total train going off the track. A total clusterfuck. And I just hope one day it gets back on track. That's the Amplified Man. I think we're going over an hour at this point. Who the fuck knows? But thank you guys so much. For those of you that spent every fucking minute, you didn't fucking skip forward. You didn't fucking... maybe you went up to go to the fucking bathroom. Maybe you got something to eat, fucking A, and paused it. But if you've heard every minute, you guys are fucking awesome, man. Because with the Amplified Man, you can't miss a minute. You don't know what the fuck I'm gonna say. And a lot of times I'm dropping facts and I'm dropping important shit. So, who cares if it goes an hour or 10 hours? It's the Amplified Man. Everyone stop what they're doing and listen. Much love and respect, guys. I'm going to get a fucking giant size fucking coffee right now. We're gonna get fucking amped up. You think this is amped up? This is just the preview. We got a lot of business to get to tonight, and if somebody gets in my way out there in New York City, I'm gonna have to shove them through a fucking wall. Head first, and then maybe I'll take them out and I'll put them back through the fucking wall, and I'll take them out, and then... Nah, I gotta get my coffee. I can't be doing that now, man, otherwise I'm gonna be visiting 2.0, and not just visiting, I'm gonna be fucking next time, I'm gonna be his fucking cellmate at that point. We're gonna go get a coffee, we're gonna try to behave. I'll see you guys maybe with an impromptu video tomorrow, definitely next week for Monday Night Raw's review and reaction. Kick this weekend's ass, and for now, check you later.